The watch that I have here in my hands has been referred to by many as the Black Bay Killer. It is the Longines Legend Diver, and it's essentially a declaration of war between the two Swiss brands. Both are watches inspired by earlier models. Both measure 39mm, and they cost practically the same price. The Black Bay 58 is a watch inspired by the 1958 Rolex Submariner, and I leave the specifications here. It's one of the most beloved watches among collectors and non-collectors alike, and in my opinion, it's a timepiece that offers great value for its price. The Legend Diver is a re-edition of an original Longines watch, with the only difference being that this watch was a bit larger. For several years, it has been one of the brand's most cherished watches. I doubt anyone doesn't know this, but if you don't, I'll tell you. Tudor is the little brother of Rolex, created for a long time to offer high-quality watches at an affordable price. However, they've been trying for some time to shake off the perception of being the little brother, and their quality and designs have improved significantly to be recognized as an independent brand. On the other hand, Longines has hinted that it wants to take the place left by Omega, and since both brands are part of the Swatch group, it makes sense. Omega versus Rolex and Tudor versus Longines. But without drifting further off topic, the question here is this watch the Tudor Black Bay Killer? I think there are several factors that could provide an answer, but at the end of the day you have to decide which one you would choose. Both watches are excellent, well built and have great finishing. In reality, both offer a good package of qualities to the person who buys them. The Tudor Black Bay 58 has a more classic construction, as it features the typical diving watch design, where you can control the bezel with 2 fingers, which is something in favor of this watch that we will discuss later. The Legend Diver has a much more elegant and ergonomic design. Although it's a diving watch, I believe it's more versatile for different situations. For example, with a leather strap, it looks perfect in a suit. You can switch to a steel bracelet or a rubber or a NATO strap, making it ideal for everyday wear. But in contrast, the sporty design of the Black Bay limits it to more casual situations. But having said that, it is still a highly versatile watch since it looks good with any straps you pair it with. If we look at the dials, both models have blue and black options. Personal taste will begin to come in play here, but I prefer the texture of the Black Bay in black to having an enamel dial. However, I repeat, that's personal preference. When comparing the two blue watches, to be honest, I'm not in love with either color. I lean toward brighter blues, and I think the Longines Legend Diver takes the lead by a really small margin. Now that we've moved past aesthetics, which can vary between individuals, let's shift to a slightly more complicated topic: perception and quality. The finishing on both watches is very good, something characteristic of both brands. But let's return to the bezel topic. I will speak from my experience and perspective, and at least for me, the design doesn't help Longines much, and let me explain why. When you think of a dive watch, you probably have an iconic model in your mind, like the Rolex Submariner or the Omega Seamaster. But what do these two watches have in common? Essentially, both feature an external rotating bezel. And whether you like it or not, at least for me, having an interaction with the watch by being able to turn the bezel gives it a more quality feel, especially because Tudor makes very good bezels that sound nice and feel firm and rugged. And in comparison, the Longines has an internal bezel controlled by a crown, which may be very secure and precise, but I lack that interaction with the watch to feel the quality of the bezel and hear the click. Next, we get to the size. Although both are 39mm, the Tudor feels much more robust and larger, perhaps due to the bezel or the thickness, but the Tudor has a presence that feels bigger. On the other hand, the Longines with its 39mm feels small. which I believe has more to do with the dial being quite small. Since the bezel is internal, it reduces the size of the dial significantly, making the watch feel smaller overall. One topic I've talked about quite a bit with Longines is brand perception. Now, go and ask anyone who has a slight understanding of the watch market. Ask them who they think is better, Tudor or Longines, and you will notice that the perception that Tudor has built over time will make an impact. Brand perception is not something you can change overnight, and this is independent of the quality of the models you have. As I've mentioned before, Longines makes excellent watches in terms of quality, better than many competitors with prices that double or triple those of Longines. But the curious thing is that brand name and perception weigh heavily on the price. Now we come to the next point, which is really still the same one. Tudor has partnered with Breitling, Chanel and Longines to develop their in-house movements. Essentially, your Tudor has the same movement as some Breitling watches, as well as Longines, as part of Swatch, but ETA, so they have their own movements from that brand. The problem is that the perception is that any 500 watch with an ETA movement is looked at as having the same quality and movement as your Longines, and even if that's not the case. Do you see the difference in perception that still exists? That is the biggest problem of Longines, and why I believe that this watch cannot be considered the Black Bay killer. Tudor has come a very long way, and Longines is just beginning. And believe me when I say, from the heart, the pieces of Longines are spectacular. This legend diver is incredibly beautiful. What weighs down on them is the baggage the brand carries with its movements and affordable watches. As I said in the last video about Longines, what they need to do is focus on changing brand perception, because that is the only thing the brand is lacking. Everything else is already in place. But tell me, what do you think, and which one would you buy of these two?